Nick, thank you so much for being here. I mean, your story is such a modern day story, unfortunately. Someone who had done unquestionably good work for the community, being quote unquote cancelled for speaking your mind. And, you know, I look at the post that you initially sent out about Black Lives Matter, which caused all of this. And what you said, I believe, is very sensible and simple. You know, you say, of course, Black Lives Matter. Let's get this obvious point over and done with at the beginning. In fact, I would be interested if anyone can be found in the UK today who does not believe this point. It's a pointless phrase. It's like saying we are against evil. But you go on to talk about the Black Lives Matter organisation in relation to the UK and say that what happened over the last few days had very little to do with the horrendous incident in the USA. And I agree with everything you say. And actually, to me, this was a positive message. It was a rallying cry. You said, we are allowing ourselves to be split into groups, black, white, straight, gay, Muslim, Christian, male, female. No good can come from this, only conflict. Amen, I say. A man talking sense, a man who's all about unity. But you post that message and your life gets turned upside down. Take me through what went on from the moment that went online.
It went, well, the first 2 weeks was fine. I posted it on LinkedIn because you can have a sensible conversation sometimes on LinkedIn. And some people pointed out that they disagreed with me. Politely, that's acceptable. I never think I know everything. I like people to challenge me. But then somebody saw the post, copied the link and put it on Twitter. And as we all know, Twitter's mental. And then it really did hit the fan. So in a couple of days, we had somebody setting a petition up to have me fired from the charity I founded. That got 450 signatures. A volunteer at the charity resigned and called me a racist and a Nazi. And then the board of trustees basically panicked, and that's why I wrote the book. They basically panicked because they suffered from cowardice, and so they knew I wasn't a Nazi.
So just to clarify, Nick,
yeah,
you were sacked from your own charity for this?
Yes.
And
yeah,
then what happens?
I received an email saying you're terminated immediately, a one-line email sacking me, and then my life fell apart. I spent the week obviously blaming myself, analysing what I'd said and what I'd wrote, and have I gone too far this time? Because I speak out on many issues, but have I crossed the line? Have I said something wrong? And nobody could point to anything that I'd said that was wrong. The accusation against me was basically I was writing while white. So because I was white, I wasn't allowed to have an opinion on something that related to an identity that I couldn't claim membership to. And then after a week of self-pity, really, I woke up one morning and went, no, I'm not having this. I'm going to fight back. I need to save my reputation because at the moment I'm going to be known forever as Nick the Nazi. And that's not a label I want. So I spoke to the press. I did, and don't forget, my job is about designing projects, about creating strategy. So I sat down with a pen and paper and created a strategy about how I was going to fight back and what their weaknesses were. And the big surprise was, from beginning to end, it took me 5 weeks. I beat the online bullies within days. They all shut their mouths and no one has ever criticised me again online. And the board, who I felt sorry for to a certain extent, they didn't ask for this. They were nice people, but they suffered from cowardice. And I forced all of them to resign in disgrace, and I took back control of the charity.
Boom. Boom. So you uncancelled yourself, Nick. That's what I like to hear. But you did get some help, didn't you? The Free Speech Union, I think, got involved. They're a very important organisation.
Yep, Free Speech Union were fantastic. The Mail on Sunday was the catalyst to all this. The Mail on Sunday did a full piece on me. Yeah, and that was where I realised I'd done nothing wrong, because all of a sudden, when that hit the shelves on the Sunday, that day I had literally 600, 700, 800 messages from around the world, and that made me realise I wasn't wrong, I was right. And then someone set an online petition up to have me reinstated. And that got 18,000 signatures compared to the 450 to have me fired. And that's when I realised, again, I'm speaking common sense. You can't let a few idiots on Twitter ruin your life and ruin the country.
No, I completely agree, Nick. But the issue that I have is that this could happen to you. I mean, you're a man of impeccable character. Your life's work is helping underprivileged folk. Do you know what I mean? This could happen to you. So my problem, Nick, if this can happen to you, it can happen to anyone. And not everyone, given they might be in a job that's more controversial, or they don't have the powerful people who could help get the message out, they have no hope.
The first week, if you'd have said to me before that this was going to happen, I wouldn't have believed you. And if you'd have said, after you get fired, you're going to collapse, Nick, and you're going to be a weakling, and you're going to fall into self-pity, I'd have laughed in your face and said, not me. I'm a kid off a council estate. You have no idea about my upbringing. I'm tough. But my life fell apart. And I can understand if you're just an average Joe or an average job. This is enough to destroy you. And that's why most people don't fight back, because they've already been destroyed. Hence why the idea of the book came around.
Indeed. No, I completely agree, because we have to start teaching people that you can fight back. But the problem is, Nick, these organisations, because remember, this was the board of the charity that you set up. I mean, I presume you had a pretty good relationship with these people. And
I appointed the board.
Yeah. What's so shocking is that so quickly these days they get paranoid by a few tweets. And it's like Twitter doesn't represent real life.
And again, I've said the word 3 times now. People have a tendency to go towards cowardice. If you've ever wondered how Germany ended up in Nazi Germany and how people patrolled concentration camps and the gas chambers, it's one small step at a time, where they should have said no, but they didn't. And all of a sudden they go, how did I get into this position? And the answer is one small step at a time, when you should have said no. And that's what the board didn't do.
Totally. And we all need to stand up to these cancel culture merchants who dominate Twitter, because they are usually bullies. They are out to ruin people. They are out to shut down freedom of speech. But unfortunately, Nick, in corporations, they're taken very seriously. You know, it only takes these, because usually these are executives, by the way, in cities like, you know, metropolitan centres, London, Manchester, whatever. And, you know, all they need is a few tweets and they panic and they don't stand by people. And I think that's the other thing. This loyalty is so important. You know, even if the board had maybe had a few issues with your comments, surely they could have spoken to you about it. They could have had a conversation with you about it. Maybe they could have disciplined you, although personally, having read what you said, it was a positive message and there was nothing for you to be disciplined for.